A trip here, round trip of 280 kilometers, and we're charging our second time already here, which is okay. Get a cup of coffee. This one has done 160,000 kilometers. Now we're not using any petrol at all.
It's free driving.
Free driving, guys. This looks like it comes from Audi. And the idea behind this is, in a normal car, in a petrol or diesel car, you fill up your tank and you drive away. But before you buy the car, you do have an idea of performance. How fast is it? How fast it accelerates? But also how much does it use per 100 kilometers? And normally the manufacturer will let you know that, okay, this car uses, let's say, 8 liters per 100. And beyond that, you don't really think about it. When the little gauge goes empty, you go and fill up at the petrol station, and that's it. You don't think about it any further. But in that, you also have a little thing called confirmation bias. And what is confirmation bias? Quick science lesson. It means that you try and convince yourself that things are better than they are because that's what you want to believe. So even if this manufacturer says this uses 8 liters per 100, in real life it might use 10 liters per 100, but you'll never admit it to yourself or anybody else, right? It's actually consumption bias is what I'm going to call it. The difference with an electric car is you're always thinking about it. There is no confirmation bias because your range that is displayed on the dashboard is always optimistic, and you will always be looking at the range a lot more than you would in a normal car with a petrol engine. So in that, you need to think about how far you're going to drive. Your planning of your trip is a lot more difficult. GZS
ZS
EV,
first generation.
first gen. So this model is about 3 years old, which came out in the end of 2018-19. It's the first car in Europe from MG, as the newly owned by the Chinese company SAIC. I think it's pretty good. It's quite a big car. It's bigger than a Golf, taller. It's very quiet. We're driving 100 kilometers an hour now. You can't really hear the mirrors. You can't hear the tires. Very cool. Very well done. You've got all your stuff down here. Your air controls. Seats heated as well, which is quite nice. It's not all integrated into the screen like some other cars, which is not very cool. You have to go down into the menus. Now you can just leave it here and adjust everything you need down here, which is nice. It has one pedal driving ability, which is quite cool. 3 settings, from nothing at all to a very strong braking when you let go of the accelerator. It's pretty comfortable. Leather inside. The materials are very nice. It's quite soft. Look upstairs and you have a panorama roof, which is quite nice, eh? Very cool. Nicely finished in here. It's everything you need. This one has done 160,000 kilometers, and the battery is still practically like new, so there's no degradation at all in the battery chargeability. You've got everything else you need on here. The cruise control. Couple of negative points maybe is that whenever you start the car, it defaults to your safety systems like adaptive cruise control, lane assist, all of that stuff, which you can turn off, but you have to turn it off every time. Another possible negative is your battery size, which is 44 kilowatt hours, which gives you about 200 kilometers. Depending on summer or winter mode, obviously you're going to use get a lot less range in winter. I would say 180 kilometers, call it 110, 120 miles. Is that enough? Work and back, it's not a problem. If you're having longer trips, you're going to have to charge. So we're looking at about a half an hour to charge up to 80%, which is pretty good, which has a CCS charger on the front as well. Very practical, very roomy in here. It drives really well. It's quite nippy as well. It has about 150 horsepower, I think, but you really do notice it when you step off the line. It just keeps pulling on very strongly. So there you have it, the MG ZS EV, which is now being replaced by the MG5, I think the new model, which has a lot more range like all new EVs do. And the MG4 is coming out as well, which is quite interesting. So there you have it. The real world test of the MG ZS EV. Pretty comfy in here. I'll give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you on the next one. Keep rolling. Wat is die auto?
Is het een MG5? We zijn in wat voor auto zijn we?
MG5, toch?
Nee, volgens mij niet. Volgens mij is het 5 de nieuwe.
Oh, en deze...
ZS EV, eerste generatie.
MG ZS.
ZS, ja.
EV.
EV, first generation.
First gen.